All right. Good morning. It's
Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
sunny November, 16th, something like that. It's cold here in Alabama. What about Michigan?
Oh no, it's sunny. It,
It's
it is
sunny
sunny.
here.
It's probably 40-ish right now, maybe a little less.
It's warmer there than it is here. It's 34 and sunny.
Wow.
Yep.
Here, just take a quick look.
Oh, you have snow. You're lying to me. It's not 40. It's probably 20.
Probably. It's supposed to be down the high on Saturday, I think it's supposed to be 20.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's too early for that.
That is early.
Yeah.
Goodness.
But anyhow,
Okay.
it's
So
Michigan. So.
it is Michigan, but here it's a little early to be this cold. But it will get up
Oh,
to well, yesterday it was a high of 49, which is low for this time of year in our area. It's usually about 60. So let's see if Siri lies to us today. She lies to me all the time. Hey Siri, what's today's high? Let's see what she says.
The high temperature will be 43 degrees today.
Yeah, it's cold.
wow, it is.
It might get up about 10 more degrees, I guess. So today we're going to talk about your holiday traditions because next week is Thanksgiving and then it's like off to the races for all the holiday festivities that happen between now and the end of the year. So I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about your youth and family traditions and things that you remember that were special. I have a feeling like some of the things that you did were probably like no cost and or low cost, and like today it seems like everything's so commercialized. So just curious, like what was it like growing up back in the 1900s?
Back in the ancient days. um uh yeah, we were I remember we would have Thanksgiving at one of the families, um, aunts, uncles, whoever would host it. But I think usually the ones I remember were at Grandma Toby's, Grandma and Grandpa Toby's place. Excuse
And
me.
then your grandma and grandpa, right? Not my grandma and grandpa.
Yeah,
Okay.
your great grandparents,
Right. Okay.
and they lived in Plymouth, and so I remember those times going there and having the whole family come in. There was aunts, uncles, cousins, just a bunch of people, and sitting down to dinner. Um, Now, something I don't remember other than I saw in movie film, the old, mm, um, was that my dad had set up one gathering, whether it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, but there they were at the table, and one by one they would pop into the scene sitting at the table. So if you can imagine that, here's an empty table, and all of a sudden, boom, there's somebody at the end, and then boom, there's somebody over on the right side, boom, on the left side, and it just filled up until there was like 10 or 12 people at the table.
That's so cool. And
That,
you see that today on TikTok and different platforms like that, which I'm not on TikTok, but I'm just saying, like, I can still see the videos because they filter over to the other platforms. And so those are things that we see today, and they're like, ooh, so cool. But that was back in what, the 40s, 1940s?
yeah, yeah. So he
Way
was
ahead.
either shooting with 8 millimeter or 16 millimeter, because they had that back then too. And movie film was kind of rare too. So
So did he
um,
have to splice it and then like put it back together and make it look like that, where it was like boom, 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 all those seats were filled?
I think how he did it was just he would pause it or stop it and
Okay.
then restart it when another person was in the picture, and he kept doing that until it was done. So he was pretty inventive. doing
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. Um,
Way ahead of
but
its
I don't remember much about Thanksgivings other than the gathering. Um, but Christmas was special. We sometimes we opened gifts on Christmas Eve, and that way we had all day of Christmas to play with whatever our toys were. Um,
Did you get a
and I
room full of toys?
know a couple of things.
Were they
Um,
practical toys?
what's that?
Were they practical gifts?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I remember one year, and I was probably getting close to being a teenager, and me and my brothers got uh, these little rockets that you put water in, and then you would pump it up and let them go, and they would shoot up in the air, and we thought that was cool, but
Hard to do in the
nothing like
winter.
that. That's old technology. And another year there, we had a train set that was set up when we got back because we went to church, oddly enough, and coming home Christmas Eve in the snow coming down and get there, and there was a train set all set up and
Aw,
going around. Yeah,
that was
that was cool.
special. So do you think you went to church that year for the holidays because of your best friend that you told me about in a previous coffee chat?
No, because this was the whole family that went, and I was the only one that went with Dave Hill
Okay.
that was to the Wesleyan Methodist Church. So I'm not sure. Probably we went to the Congregational Church because that's where I was baptized as well.
Okay.
Um, and for whatever reason, my parents fell away from the church. They had some disbelief or something that said church wasn't for them.
Maybe there was a disruption that caused them to be in conflict that we don't know
Yeah.
about.
It might have been somebody like a pastor in the church did something that shouldn't have done. And
Inappropriate or offensive.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I never did find out.
Okay.
Um,
Well, let's go back to Thanksgiving for a minute. You said that there was a gathering for the big feast, and there sounds like there was a lot of people there. Was there a kids' table, or did everyone get to sit around the same table? And what kind of food were traditional items that you would see?
well, I'm sure there was always a kids' table. Um, I'm sure there will always be that. So um, when Valerie's kids are growing, they'll be sitting at a kids' table. Um, it was traditional food, though. Turkey, maybe ham,
Cranberry
uh,
sauce,
cranberry sauce, mashed
stuffing,
potatoes,
and
yam,
gravy.
gravy. Oh yeah, lots of good gravy.
Yum.
Yep. Um, back then, my dad was a heavy drinker as well, so that wasn't always the fun part, but um, he got through it. We all got through it.
And so
Um,
this was like a small house, probably with a lot of people that just crammed in. Is
oh
that,
yeah,
yeah, it wasn't like a whole bunch of people with big houses and everybody could fit in easily. It was just like close, close family, I'm assuming, and just making quarters close and enjoying each other, no matter how much it was that you may have to swap seats once in a while and let somebody stand for a minute. I don't mean while eating, but I'm saying like as you were gathering, like there may not be enough seats until you get down to the moment in time when you're eating, and then everyone has a chair and you may be at the kids' table. Sometimes
yeah,
sometimes the adults sit at the kids' table. I mean, it's not always the case, but I've known that to be true.
yep, yep. Especially if you have a child that doesn't know how to use the utensils yet, you want to cut
Right.
up their stuff. Yeah, so,
Supervised.
um, but I don't remember a whole lot about that because I don't have the memory like my siblings. They can tell you stuff that happened and
Do you ever remember inviting people that were outside the family to your traditional family dinners like Thanksgiving and Christmas?
um no, but I know that we had some neighbors about a block away that we hung out with. And so I'm guessing that, yeah, we probably had them over for maybe a Thanksgiving or an Easter dinner or something. But I don't remember. I do remember going to their place for um, like barbecues, having hot dogs and chicken or whatever. But um,
That was during the summer months, probably, though, right? Maybe like 4th of July or just a summer picnic.
exactly. And I do remember one of our neighbors, a kid that I grew up with. Uh, they were Jehovah Witness,
Hmm.
and so they didn't celebrate Christmas, and I always thought that was kind of odd and maybe even sad for him because he was my age and probably looking forward to something, and all the other kids are having a
Talking
Christmas
about
celebration
it.
and
Hmm.
yeah, getting toys and stuff, and he was left out because his family was Jehovah Witness.
And they felt like that was an idol.
Yeah.
So, did you have any other traditions? Like, did you guys do stockings? I know that when we were still, Shannon and Andrew and Aaron and I were all in the house, we were reading stories from the Bible the night before or the morning of Christmas, depending on who was home. So, did you do anything like that when you were a kid?
Um, I I remember watching television, which was a new thing, but watching old movies. Well, back then they weren't that old, but
At
like
the time, they were probably fresh off the press.
yeah, It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah, I think that came out in the 40s.
So, you may have seen it first time it went out.
Yeah,
Was it at the
maybe.
movie theater before it was on TV? Do you know?
I don't know. Um, I would guess that it may have. Can you see that? This came across my screen.
Nope.
No, it
Nope.
just indicated that there was motion at the front door.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and there were other movies like oh, I can't even think of the names of them now,
Christmas
but
Carol. I don't know the years of some of these classics, but
yeah. Um, and I know watching the Thanksgiving Day parade.
mhm.
Back then it was the JL Hudson parade and Macy's, of course. That was out of New York. So that was always a fun thing to do, watch the parade and see all the different things that they had in the parade.
Mhm.
I never ever went downtown to watch the parade,
Downtown
or at
Detroit.
least, yeah, at least not that I'm aware of. I may have been young and being held by somebody, but I don't remember.
So when you say you
Uh,
watched it on TV, you're talking about the one in New York, right? Or
yeah,
was there one on TV that was televised in Detroit?
eventually, but at one point, yeah, because
Do
that
they
was
still
always
do that? Does
what's that?
Detroit still have a parade?
Yes. During COVID, it was a little strange. I don't even remember what they did during COVID.
Probably
But it's
nothing.
yeah, it's possible they did nothing. Um, Probably by the second year, I'm sure people were wearing masks and staying 6 feet apart. Which reminds me, at the doctor's office yesterday, before we got out of the car, I told Suzanne, grab a mask, because they always had us mask up. Once we got in there, I saw a sign that says, it's optional now.
Oh, good. That's
Yeah,
nice. I was at my doctor's office the other day. It is not optional yet. So
and
I guess
yet,
it depends on where you're at. Every office is going to be different.
yeah. And most of the people there that were clients wore masks, but
Okay.
and only a handful of the people that work there had masks.
Hmm.
The rest were fine without it.
Huh.
So we took ours off right away. And that's how I saw
The
my
doctor's face.
doctor's face. Yeah. Before that, I hadn't seen it.
Just his eyes.
Yeah, just his eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
so let's fast forward to now you're raising your family and you start traditions for the holidays, I'm assuming, right? Like I remember traveling to family members for Thanksgiving and Christmas, but it may not have fallen on the day as far as I recall Christmas. I think Thanksgiving typically did. What traditions did you have and what traditions do you still have?
hmm. Well, when you and Shannon were growing up, we usually ended up with like 2 Thanksgivings, 2 Christmases, because there were both sides of the family there. Um, and that was always kind of logistically difficult because you had to plan on when you're going to be there and just a lot of stuff. And um, it would have been nice just to go to one place or the other. I think maybe we did that on occasion, that just skipped one. Um, but the tradition was just to get together with family. But that tradition still holds. We are planning on going to Aunt Diane's on Thanksgiving.
That'll be nice.
I hope so. We
So,
have different
sorry, go ahead.
political beliefs, so that makes it difficult.
Well, hopefully there won't be political discussions.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping too. If we can stay away from politics, because I told Suzanne, if politics comes in, then I will probably want to leave.
Hmm.
But
Change the subject if you can.
yeah,
Um, so just thinking about what you said about having to go to more than one location and how challenging that was. I remember after Tom and I got married, it was similar. And while we lived in Michigan, you may remember this, we started alternating Christmases because his dad lived in Florida and he was the only one out of state at the time. So at some point in time, every other Christmas we would go to Florida, and then every other Christmas we would stay in Michigan. And then when we were in Michigan, we would kind of hop around on the holiday, or maybe even a couple days worth of celebrating between Christmas and New Year's. But typically, I want to say Thanksgiving, we would maybe do dinner at one house and dessert at a different house. So you
yeah,
do what
not
you have to
always.
do. Is what I guess that I'm really getting at.
Yeah, and yeah, usually if you have dinner at one, you're not going to be wanting dinner at another one. So
Yeah. I think the bottom line is it's just time to spend quality time, slow down a little bit, be with your family, enjoy some good conversation, catch up a little bit,
exactly.
and just to be grateful. I've decided that Christmas used to be more favored for me, but now I feel like Thanksgiving is, and it's just a time to reflect on the gratitude and things that we have, whether it's tangible or not. It's really, I feel like the things that are not tangible are the things that I lean more towards feeling grateful for. And
Yes.
look at this girl. She's growling at me. I think she wants to go outside.
Hi, Patty.
Hold on, let's take a little intermission break. We'll be right
Okay.
back after these messages. Okay, and we're
I'm
back after
wearing
that commercial break.
I'm wearing Hunter Orange for Tom today.
Bless his heart, he has to get out into the woods before too long, and he may have to have surgery.
Oh, that's too bad.
We'll find out tomorrow. So, let's talk a little bit more about like, do you feel like the traditions that your family had created sort of a legacy for you, like something that you just really hold close to during, especially during the holidays, or maybe the other way around? Do you feel like you tried to establish that when you were raising your kids?
Well, I think because of the memory I had of going to church on Christmas Eve and that kind of gathering, that was probably the closest that our family has ever been that I can think of. But I enjoy that at Christmas here. We go to church and we have candlelight vigil, and that's special to me. That's more special than the day itself and all that. It's just um, it just helps me slow down.
It's not about the gifts, is what I'm hearing you say.
No, it's about his gift to us. So um,
Agreed.
yeah, that's what I find special. Um, even and then gathering together afterwards. Whether it's the next day or next week, doesn't make any difference. It's just getting together.
Mhm.
So I enjoy that. And um, it was always special when I was working too, because it seemed like work just kind of slowed down for a week or two
Mhm.
um,
The
during
hustle and
Christmas. And
bustle.
yeah, I mean, we would still get people that were crazy and combative, but for the most part, everybody just got along fine, and work was just, it was smooth.
Mhm.
And decorating throughout the hospital, just a special time.
Put people into a festive mood.
Yeah.
And then it's
So
a big letdown right after the holidays.
yeah, thanks, back to work. Um, and I know Suzanne was not a big fan of Christmas or the holidays when we first got together, and she said that I showed her how to enjoy it. So
Aw, I didn't know that. That's so sweet.
yeah, so she's probably into it more than I am now. She wants Christmas music on right away.
Oh, I do love the Christmas music playing in the background. But I've always seen her getting excited about putting up a tree and making it beautiful. And I think she's even done more than one tree on occasion. So
Yeah.
I had no idea that she felt that way.
Yeah, and it's I don't know, something something messed her up in her previous life, but we brought her back. So yeah, we've been messing with the tree already. It it's got I left all the lights on it from last year and they're not working. So I'm gonna pick up that thing either
Good.
through Amazon or Lowe's, one of the two.
Yeah. Well, let me know how that goes. I think it'll be fun for you because it's kind of addictive to use that tool, because you do start like once they start coming back on, then you get excited and you want to see more. And so it's usually takes like 10, if I remember correctly, like when you put the wire, it has like a spot that the wire goes into, and then you hold it like a gun and you click, 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 and you have to do it like 10, maybe 20 times, click, 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 and you keep doing that. And then all of a sudden, lights appear.
That's amazing.
I know.
I can't wait.
It'll save you from having to buy more lights. So yeah, and then I feel like another tradition that I remember, and maybe it didn't feel like tradition per se, but I remember driving around and looking at the lights outside, like other people's decorations. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Just admiring that. I feel like, oh, and I remember another time, I think we did this more than one occasion, Christmas caroling.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we did it a lot, but I do remember doing it with our neighbors and just knocking on doors and singing to people. And I think most everybody appreciated it. I think maybe one time someone offered hot cocoa as a reward for entertaining them, but most everybody was just like, okay, Merry Christmas.
See ya.
Get off my porch.
Yep. Yep. I'm glad you brought that up because I remember doing that as a child as well.
Okay.
Christmas caroling and yeah, that was fun. And then
Well,
and I remember doing it. I think doing it with you kids too. But
well, and definitely in the car. I remember singing in the car a lot. Just, whatever, Christmas carols. And then and fast forward to more recent years, particularly the last 15 that I can remember. And I'm not saying it was all 15, but that's just like that gap of time I'm recalling from, that you and Suzanne adopted the idea of finding someone that was especially needy. So can you talk about that a little bit?
yeah, because we would we would save coins throughout the year, and there was a story about what was it called? Suzanne would know about the something jar, money jar, or something.
Christmas jar, was it?
Christmas jar, yeah.
Big surprise.
So yeah, we just knew that there was somebody in need, even though it might not be a lot of money, but it might be something for somebody. And I know one year we were at Tractor Supply and we were just touched by this employee that worked there, and he was working a couple of different jobs trying to make ends meet. And we thought, this guy deserves the Christmas jar. And then there was a woman.
Tell us what happened. We need to know. Like, you gave the guy the Christmas jar. Well, was it while he was working?
Yeah.
And how much was it? Was it a couple $100? And then how was his response? What did he do?
I think it was probably around $50.
Okay.
And he was so appreciative, knowing that he was struggling with making ends meet. So
And do you give it as coins, or do you turn your coins into bills?
no, we gave it as coins.
That's heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of money there. Oh yeah, it's $12.50. Yeah, so yeah, I remember anybody we gave it to was very appreciative, regardless of the amount that was there. And since then, I think the giving has gone beyond the Christmas jar. So it's just writing a check and sending it off. We give to Boys Town. We give to the Lakota Indians in North Dakota. And the next thing I'm looking at is and it sounds like you can get money back. So it's not a donation. This is like a investment.
Okay.
And it's on the new movie about David. And it's put out by the same people that do The Chosen.
Hmm.
And so they're looking for investors to put money towards this movie. And then once the movie starts making money, they said you can get like 125% back on your investment.
Wow.
So the minimum investment is $100.
But it's for a good cause as well, because there's a message behind it that will be distributed publicly and probably widely.
Absolutely, yeah. So even without that part of it, I've thought about donating to that. Well, but again, it's not a donation.
Yes, you're just supporting something.
Yeah, supporting a good cause. So we always try to do that. And of course, at this time of the year, we get inundated with people that have their hand out. Here, give us money. And so we pick and choose the ones that we donate to.
Right. And you did the Christmas jar at least one year, maybe two, when you were here in Huntsville.
Yep. Yep, that was fun. And it was maybe a good lesson for the kids too,
Hmm.
because they were involved in it. And
If I recall, it was a lady who had a child and she was single and needed diapers or something. Does that ring a bell?
yeah, because it was like she was living with the rest of the family or something. Yeah, that was.
My recollection of, because I didn't go in, is that I think maybe only Suzanne went in, but I'm not sure. And she came back and said, after knocking on the door, because there was a lot of cars outside on the holiday, so we knew that it was a family gathering. And she came back and she said, she introduced herself and she said, I know you don't know me, but I just wanted to wish you all a Merry Christmas or whatever. I think it was Christmas. And um, I was looking for somebody who might have an extra need this holiday season. And do you know someone? And she said, everybody turned and looked at the like one person. And so
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah,
like, they were just accepting a gift for a random reason or just because they could, but everybody was like, she needs help right there. That girl right there, she's a single mom and she's struggling.
yep. That was special.
Hmm.
And we had that same similar situation. We went to Rite Aid one year, and so we were talking to this clerk or whatever they're called, behind the counter, anyhow. And we kind of knew her because we'd gone in there so many times, and she was there. So we approached her, and she said, "Oh yes," and it was her daughter-in-law or something related to her. And she said she is in need, and she gave us the address. We went there, and I don't recall. I think we just knocked on the door and then left the money because I don't recall seeing anybody.
Okay.
But yeah, that was another instance that we did that. Um,
Oh yeah, and one of the years that you were in Huntsville, we were driving around and driving around, and I remember we stopped on the side of the road and we prayed that God would direct us. And we ended up sitting in the church parking lot, right, just in
yeah,
that area where we were, and it was a Spanish speaking church. And so we were just there. It wasn't on a day that was church service day. And while we were sitting there trying to figure out what direction to go and what direction God had intended for us, a bus, the church bus, pulls up. Do you remember this?
yes,
And about four people get out of the church bus, and we were feeling a little awkward, like we probably better go. And then I think Suzanne may have said, let's ask them if they know someone. We all get out, and I want to say maybe Nick and Steven, or Nick or Steven, were wearing their soccer cleats or something like that. And so these, I remember male pastors or youth pastors, and I don't know if there was any women in the group, but I just remember some men, and at least one of them spoke a little English. And so we told him what we were doing and did they know anybody? And then he translated to the rest of the group. And then all of a sudden the name Maria just started popping up. Maria, Maria. Everyone kept saying Maria and nodding, they're nodding their heads, Maria. And so while we were standing there, they started asking my boys, do you play soccer? Which is unrelated to the story, but all that to say, I think you guys then said, okay, we want Maria to have this money. And I do feel like it was maybe like $200. Does that ring a bell at all?
Yeah, it does. Yep.
We never found out if Maria is how she used it, if she was blessed by it. I'm sure she was, but we never heard anything more. It does seem like I exchanged emails with the one pastor who spoke English because of something. And we did communicate a little bit through email, but then it kind of got lost after a bit. So that was interesting. So God knows what happened with Maria. And I think that was
Yeah.
during the time I remember something about her husband had been deported because of something with the law had changed and they were here raising their family and he may not have been totally legal yet. And so she was trying to get back together with her husband, but in the meantime, they were living separately. She had the kids. He was in Mexico. Does that ring a bell?
Kind of. Yep.
So maybe we
And I
helped
remember you
get them
went
back.
and met somebody at a restaurant or something
Yes, yes,
afterwards. Yeah.
yes. That wasn't related to those specific people, but one of my colleagues at the time, Noel Cassianos, I think is how you say his last name. He has a mission, and his mission included helping the people who were being forced out of the US. And so we went to speak to him to see if there was anything he could do to help Maria and her family, and particularly this group of pastors who were here. And they, some of them spoke a little bit of English, but it looked like the majority of the group did not. And so it looked like they needed some resources and maybe even a lawyer. And, we don't know the whole story, but
No.
and I don't know whatever came of that connection with Noel, but he was definitely somebody that we felt confident that might have some resources.
Yep.
So yeah, walking down memory lane.
How about that? Wow. So I don't think we'll do the Christmas jar. We haven't been setting anything aside, but again, we do make donations throughout the year,
Right.
and there'll probably be more. Another one that, well, I give it to is Guiding Light. It's out of Grand Rapids, and that's one group. They've actually called and left a message thanking me for the donation.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and they seem sincere, and we're not being inundated with their requests. We'll get one or two a year, but they help men who are addicted to alcohol or drugs or whatever, that are homeless, and get them off the streets and help them recover.
Good.
So that was, I don't even know how I found that one, but it's one that we give to as well. So I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying that's our Christmas jars now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's more than one way to make a difference, and it doesn't require much effort, really.
Yeah.
And it doesn't require money. It could be volunteerism. It's just nice that you have the extra resources that you can give.
Yeah. Now
So
having the procedure St. Joe's twice now. Well, 2 different procedures, but walking in there, it felt homey to me. Working there for so many years,
Was your
and I
home
thought,
away from home?
if it was closer, I would probably volunteer, but it's 25 miles away. Or if they paid volunteers,
At least cover your gas.
yeah, cover my gas. But so that's off the subject. Um,
Well, I think the bottom line is family traditions are a good thing to have, even if they evolve and turn into different things. And
yeah,
it may not be something that people remember for years and years to come, but we don't know the impact that we're making on others. So it could be that they talk about, remember the time when somebody walked into Tractor Supply and handed me $50 and it was like a whole stack of coins.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, we don't know. We may never know, but
yeah.
it is a nice thing to do.
Well, maybe that's what we'll find out when we get up to heaven.
Right. Yes. Well, I guess
Oh,
on that note, we should probably come to a close for today, and we'll just keep chatting as opportunities present themselves. We'll probably have to wait till after the holidays to do another coffee chat, but we'll definitely be talking in between now and then.
oh yes. Well, that's the other thing with new technology. We get together at Christmas to,
Virtually.
yeah, virtually. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and during COVID, we did birthdays and Christmas, and
so there is something to be said about the new technology.
yes, that new fandangled technology.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it was
Well,
good to spend time with you this morning.
it was my pleasure. It's always my pleasure.
All
And
right.
so we've got something to be thankful for this year.
Yes,
That
good health.
Yep. And
Best news ever.
all right. Well, you have a wonderful, cool day.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be
Cool
cool.
and sunny.
We go
All
back
right.
to check on Grayson's bionic ears today.
Oh, good.
I don't know if he can hear like bionically, but I'm calling them bionic ears because they were completely rebuilt. So hopefully this is our last visit. It's been since July. So that's what, August, September, October, November. Yeah, we're 4 months out.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get a clean bill of health and that we're done with that. But
Okay.
like you said, we're grateful that you have a clean bill of health, and we just want everybody else to be healthy. That's the most important gift right now, I think, is just good health.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right.
Well,
Well, I
I
love you guys.
and I will
Okay.
talk soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
There
There we go.
you go. Okay, talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.